Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to Growing Wisdom, and today we're going to talk about a foundation planting. And you know, November is still a great time to plant across many portions of the country. If your ground is not frozen, you can still plant things like trees and shrubs, even perennials. As a matter of fact, if you head off to your local nursery, you can find some wonderful deals. Things are half price, maybe even 75% off. Find a spot for them and put them in the ground. The one thing about this time of the year, selection is just not as great as it is during the spring. Of course, they're trying to move the merchandise out, whereas in spring, it's coming in. So you might have to leave a gap in your foundation planting or any garden planting and think, I'll fill that in next year. You know, every planting is just a little bit different, whether you're doing a free-form vegetable garden in the middle of the yard or a bunch of trees and shrubs along a low foundation like this. One of the things I like to do is draw it out. So we drew a little bit of a plan here. I know some of those plants that I've put on here are not going to be available until next spring. However, what we have, I'm going to put in because I got a great deal on them. A couple of things I've thought about as I'm doing this planting. I love the stone. Let me show you. You know, this stone is really beautiful here, and I don't want to hide this. If I put, say, a row of boxwoods here, the stone would completely disappear, and I don't want that. I like that because folks may be sitting in other parts of the yard and then look back, and we like the way the stone looks. If you look down a little bit, you'll see there's a little bit of a waterfall area, and so this particular home has a lot of stone in it, and so we want to keep that continuity by leaving some of the stone. So I'm going to have my friend Patrick, who's helping me out with this planting today, bring in the plantings we have. Now, we don't have a ton of plantings, but I want to go through each of them with you and tell you why I've chosen to use this particular plant in this particular planting. One of the plants I'm installing today is a deciduous azalea. In other words, the leaves are going to fall off, and you can already see this wonderful dark burgundy copper color. This is its fall color. One of the great aspects of Pink and Sweet is that it blooms late June as a matter of fact. So a lot of other azaleas are spring bloomers. This is what we call a summer blooming azalea, and that scent is going to waft in there on those warm summer nights. And the other great thing about our Pink and Sweet, it's hardy to zone 4. So moving on, we've got this little Weigela. Now, if you're familiar with Weigelias, some of them get very tall, 6, 7, 8, 10 feet. They get very wide. This is a miniature version of a Weigela. The leaves look like a Weigela, and the flowers in the spring will also look fantastic. They're pink. But why I chose this is this great variegated leaf. It's got some white, some green, and a little bit of pink as well. So this is a terrific plant for the front of a foundation. It will stay low. It's not going to get very big. So this plant is so hardy, this can go down to 30 below zero. You can probably plant this in most of the country. So Sharon, the homeowner, has expressed a love of holly. So we knew we wanted to put a holly here, and I went to the nursery yesterday to find a holly, and I had a couple of ideas in mind. And then I saw this. It's a miniature holly. And when I got to the nursery, there were only 3 of these plants. One was spoken for, that left 2. One's going in my yard, and the third one's here, called Emerald Magic. And look how tiny the holly leaves are. It's just fantastic. And if you compare this to the larger leafed hollies, you really do notice the difference. This plant will only stay about 2, maybe 3 feet tall in many, many years. So for a foundation planting like this, where you don't want to block the view of the river, this is an ideal plant. The final plant I want to share with you is Chamaecyparis nana-gracilis. Now, when you see the name Nana next to a plant variety, very often it means it's going to stay smaller than its original parent counterpart. So they've developed this plant with that Nana name next to it to stay small. In other words, this is not going to get to be 30 or 40 feet. I have a quick funny story for you. My neighbor put one of these in. It was labeled incorrectly. She thought it was going to be small. It ended up to be a 40-foot tree, and it's in the wrong spot. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but look for that name Nana if you want things to stay small. All right, so this planting area is certainly not complete, but it's a good start. I really like what we've put here so far, and the great thing is that next spring and next summer we can continue to add to this particular planting to make it look exactly how we want. Come back every week for all of our videos at Growing Wisdom.